pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I start this meeting, I'd like to ask a moment of silence for Councilmember Lois Tiley, as well as Karen Wood, DDA member, who both passed away in the last week or so. Many prayers to their families going through the tough times. It hits home. They were both lifelong village residents, upstanding. Put their time into this village, helping make the right decisions. And, may they rest in peace. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Jamie Kendall,
Present.
Darcy McSwain,
Present.
Paul Jenderski,
Here.
Edgar Titoff,
Present.
Michael Nesbitt,
Present.
and Kathy Harris.
Present.
Any adjustments to the agenda?
No adjustments, just additional information. I wanted 3 proposals for the DPW barn that we were just received today. Dan is here. I'm not gonna throw him on the agenda. I'm just gonna let it go as announcement, public comment. And that's it. Nothing adjust.
Motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any announcements, public comment?
Yes. I'd like to say something positive today. As the council knows that our neighborhood had some concerns about snowmobiles being on the rail trail. This is the first time in 24 years that there hasn't been snowmobiles on the rail trail. And I wanted to give credit where credit was due with our chief of police and his wisdom of hiring a female deputy that works in the school system. And I believe basically the word got out through the school system because it was kids that were riding the rail trail with the snowmobiles. But that was a plus, and that was one of the things that was on our neighborhood concerns. So that's a good thing.
What snow?
I'll say we didn't have any snow.
Well, we had 12. We had
They were
12
around.
we had 12 days of
They were around them a couple days.
We had,
Yeah.
we had 12 days of snow. I've been on cross-country skis, and we're having probably another 4, in the next few days. But I gotta give credit to where credit is due, and it was a wise decision to, hire the female deputy and put her in the school system, and basically, cut the problem at the butt.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dan Armentrout with the Road Commission, and many of you already know Deb Kestner. She is one of our road commissioners. On the August primary, there will be a countywide millage for roads. 2 mills, 6 years. And I know that there may be a lot of questions you'll have in your community about this, and I know that, your village already has a millage. So with that, if it does pass, there'll be decisions that need to be made on your behalf probably. But to explain why we're doing this, when we look at the roads, you have your major streets and your minor streets, and you get your Act 51 dollars to spend on roads. And the County Road Commission, we get money to spend on roads too. We have our primaries and locals. On our primaries, we can do what we need to do, but on the locals, Act 51 requires us to get 50% from another source. So if we do a local road in St. Charles Township, we gotta find another source for that money, and that source typically falls on the backs of the township. They budget money for roads sometimes, and some townships have millages and some don't, and some really struggle to come up with anything for roads whatsoever. And then there'll be those, there's townships that are really, yeah, we're doing roads, and then all of a sudden, they gotta buy a fire truck. And now, money's tight, and their general fund doesn't have anything, and the next thing you know, you got a culvert going bad, and we still need 50% from another source. And some townships will have, do a special assessment, sometimes a business, can come in and kick in some cash, those types of things. But when we look at our off-system, our local roads throughout the county, we struggle to have stability in that funding. We struggle to really have that. And by doing a county-wide millage, it creates a stable funding source for those, and the dollars that we are gonna get are gonna be dedicated to the local road system. Dollars that come to the cities and villages, they can be spent on their on-system or off-system, there's no rule there. The language allows, the law allows those dollars. So essentially what happens is the millage is collected, the treasurer counts it all up. The portion that is based on the SEVs, the millage dollars that are collected in the village of St. Charles, those dollars come back to the village of St. Charles, and you have that dollars to work with. So if it passes though, with your current millage, you may want to look at adjusting what you levy. Some townships that already have millages might say, hey, we have one mill, but wow, if we could get this, we'd have 3. So maybe they're gonna do that. I know Carlton Township has 5 mills. They have already said, if it passes, they'll take these 2 mills and then they will only levy 3 of their 5 in their township. So that's some of the strategies that they're doing. But those are some of the things that, if it passes, those are decisions that you will wanna make and think about.
So is it 2024 through 2027 or 2025 through 2028?
It's 6 years.
Okay.
So the first levy, if it passes in August, the first levy would be in the December 2024 taxes. And then it's 6 years. Yes.
What roads for one, because Whitmer's our one on fix the damn road, nobody wants to be taxed anymore. So
Correct.
what roads are gonna be fixed, our local people are already fixing our own roads.
Yes.
So you're talking road commission covers what, just the I roads, the M roads?
Oh, we don't do the M roads. So we have that's MDOT. So the dollars don't
So
go
that's state
towards the M
roads.
roads, those are state roads, they don't go towards the state roads.
We're talking like,
Swan Creek Road's a primary road, Dempsey Road's a primary road, those are primaries. Local roads, in this
what are
area.
you talking in our community is what
In
I'm
your
at. You're talking just Dempsey Road,
We have no roads in the village of St. Charles.
that you're gonna fix?
They are all your roads.
Okay,
Within the village,
so you want a village to fix other roads, not roads here, is that what you're saying?
it's a county-wide millage. It's a county-wide millage. Every dollar that is raised in St. Charles Township will be spent on roads in St. Charles Township that the St. Charles Township Board chooses. Every dollar that's raised in Swan Creek Township will be spent on roads.
Everything will be in Saginaw County is what you're saying. Well,
Yeah.
how can we be reassured that it's not all gonna go to Saginaw? How is it gonna come out to the rural community? How can we get in here and
Sure,
see
sure.
something's gonna happen out
Fair
here?
question, fair
We've
question.
seen that a million times, that it
The-
goes
the
up, their
law.
millage goes up and they fix all them roads around their
Sure.
houses, but
Sure,
not
yeah,
us.
Sure. So those 2 mills, it's in the statute that we're using to do this. The statute requires that any of the road, any community that is their own road agency get the dollar amounts based on the taxable values of their residences. They're the people within their community.
And how do you determine what's a good road, bad road? You drive up down and go, hey, well, we'll fix Dempsey Road, it's like, it's a good road here. It goes straight, it's going right up to the highway to highway. How do you determine what roads are gonna get fixed?
So within St. Charles Township, the St. Charles Township Board will decide where to spend their dollars, what roads are important to their community. In Marion Township, they will decide what roads are important in their community. Ithica Road is a primary, so they're not likely to say, we wanna spend money on that. We, the County Road Commission, would spend dollars on that. So, but within the village of St. Charles, your streets, your roads that you have here in town, you get to decide how those dollars are spent, just like you do now with your current
So
dollars.
we can fix any road out of that tax dollars that we are
Yes.
allotted, or whatever we wanna call it?
Yeah, yes, but, I mean, it's 2 mills, and what is your current road?
2 mills.
2 mills. So if you get this 2 mills, you already have 2 mills, you may have to decide, do we wanna levy our 2 mills? Because you're getting this other 2 mills already on top, do you want your residents to have to pay 4 mills? Or, you know, maybe you want to do a bunch of road stuff, and maybe you levy 1 mill with this 2 mil, and then you have 3, and you got a little bit more to work with. Those are decisions that are up to your community to decide. Those dollars, the dollars that cover all the townships, come to the road commission, we sit on that, and we have our agreements with the townships to do that sort of thing. The dollars that come to the village of St. Charles will come directly to the village of St. Charles. You collect it, you send it to the treasurer, he counts it all up, yep, and sends it all back. The village of Merrill has the same kind of scenario. You know, Chastain has the same kind of scenario. Birch Run, Frankenmuth, the city of Zilwaukee, the city of Saginaw, they all have roads, and they all get a chunk
We don't
of
have
that
the money to go
countywide
to
millage.
the congested places like Saginaw, and we've seen it before, fix the damn roads, and it just seems like the roads never get fixed, but they're gonna
This,
ask for village, ask for
sure,
money.
sure, this millage is spent in your community on the roads that you decide where it's spent.
So you, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So you're saying that if this millage passes and the county determines how much money St. Charles gets, that money comes immediately to St. Charles, or do we wait until we need roads fixed before we get that money?
We would have to make the decision, it'd be on the taxes for December, which would go to the township, not the village. We probably wouldn't see anything until summer of '25. Which leads to my question is, have you begun the process of drafting agreements for the municipalities?
Well,
So that
we don't have, there would not be a specific agreement with the village, because
Okay.
you are your own road agency.
Correct.
We have drafted an agreement to be our commitment to the townships.
Okay,
All right, so in the big legal scheme of things,
so,
all the township dollar stuff would come to the road commission, and we could do whatever we want with it, but we don't wanna do that.
is there anything in the statute that says the money must come to the village?
Yes,
Yes,
Okay.
it's in writing.
Okay,
Yes,
it's in the
it's
statute.
already,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Get
Just
a
asking a question.
behind you.
I just wanna add a couple things before, if you don't mind. This is my hometown, by the way. I grew up right by the DNR on
Really?
Maple Street, lived here all my life, except when I got married. But anyway, I just wanna let you know that, we've been working on this millage for a long, long time, and as you know, we don't like more taxes either. However, the way Dan explained it is the way it's gonna be. Not any of us drive in our local township all the time. You drive in the county. And if you go to other counties, they have, like Midland, they have 3 road millages since the 90s. So that's why in other counties, the roads are, you know, smooth as glass, they've always got things going on, et cetera, et cetera. But the nice thing is when we fix all of our roads in the county with this allocation, then we can drive on good roads. So we're going to the townships and explaining this process is how we've drafted it, and that the money comes back to your area from your people.
So the millage
To
is gonna
fix it.
be over, if when they voted in, it's gonna be over 6 years, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
So what kind of a time frame are you talking about fixing them, 6 years?
Well, roads are never any problem, so realistically, after 6 years, we would likely ask for a renewal.
Renewal. And if you're not satisfied, you know, I mean, in 6 years, can you imagine what our roads would look like?
Been living there for 60, what are you talking
I mean, well,
Without a millage.
How long has the village
We
had
have
a?
never had a
road
millage.
Good question. It's 20 years through, I wanna say 34, so it was
So you've got 2 mills
03-ish.
now, and you've had it
I have
for-
the agreement right through that door.
And you got 2 mills now, and you've had them for
Most
20
people are
years.
gonna wanna, I mean,
And,
you're gonna schmool them over about raising their taxes, I don't think right now, with the economy the way it is, it's gonna be hard to do.
Well, I think anytime, it's never easy to do that.
It's worse now, but yeah, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
We're just giving you the
it's,
information.
it's
It's
a
already
tough
on the
sell.
ballot, it's already been processed through the courthouse, the county board is acknowledged it, and we've gone to, what's the other, county services, I mean, we've already done the process, we're letting you know it's gonna be on the ballot. So
Thank you.
we're here to answer questions, but more importantly, it's done. So whether it passes or not, then we'll go there, and then we can meet with you and say, what do you wanna do? So,
Well, and we don't,
if it doesn't pass,
the dollars, we don't have to meet with you to say, what do you wanna do? Because you can do what you wanna
that's
do.
true, that's true.
You're the village. They are your roads, it is your money, and you will do what you wanna do, just like you have been for the last 20 years with your millage. The sticky part is you as a board may have to decide, do we want, if this passes, do we take another 2 mills towards our roads, because the 2 mills we have isn't enough, or do you, maybe don't levy the current millage that you have? And those are decisions that you as a board
The
would
other
have to make.
challenge is, as we set our budget, we're a fiscal year of April 1. So next week when we discuss this, we have to do we double it? Do we add 1 mil? Do we leave it at 2? That'll be next week's,
Do we fix a couple roads, do we fix
yeah, I think.
20 roads?
But
It's one of those where we can budget for it, if it comes
Right.
in, well, then we back
Yeah.
off, if it doesn't,
It's not till August, primary. Mhm.
And,
Okay.
and there's other things though too that we can do as well, and that we can help with, and that we certainly do with other villages. Like, our countywide, we bid out county paving, countywide, for all our roads. Some of it's in Thomas, and some of it's down here, and some of it's over there, but what we do is we take all of our projects and we lump them into one giant pot. And we bid out the asphalt by the ton, and the milling by the square yard, and we have those units. And the city of Milwaukee almost always jumps on and says, hey, we got these 3 roads, can you include our 3 roads in your bid? And the village of Merrill almost every year does that, and Chesney has done it a couple times, and I don't know whether we've ever done it with St. Charles, but that is something that if you have a road that you're gonna resurface, you know you're gonna resurface, you absolutely can say, hey, Dan, we got these 3 roads, these 3 stretches of road, we wanna do a mill and fill on them. You still have to cover your own engineering costs and that sort of thing, but we can take your stuff, bid it with ours, and it's a big giant chunk of asphalt, and we get really competitive prices that way. And so, that is something that we can do, and certainly, I mean, if you want streets sealed, any of the streets that you have sealed, we can work with you on to do that. We're chip sealing in St. Charles, right around the corner all the time, so. Yes, sir.
Now, are you a county commissioner?
I am a road commission employee. I am the
Separate
engineer
from
for road
the
I'm a
commission.
road
She is a
commissioner.
commissioner.
Okay, you're a road commissioner. Now, 7 years ago, hate to go this far back, but basically the state took away from the village our share of the state road tax. Now, why don't you guys, do something more about getting that road tax back to the village so we can fix our roads? And, I mean, you got another handout here, you're asking the tax-paying citizen to, divvy up again. We've had, how many millage increases over the last few years? But the point is that, the state, in reality, should be divvying back, the tax portion that they took away from us 7 years ago.
And I guess I don't
I don't
know
know about that.
anything
figure it
about
out.
that.
Okay,
Well, what I will say is, in 2015, with the gas tax legislation, they increased the gas taxes, they increased,
register.
registration fees, and then since then, the road revenues have increased. So, I mean, from a village standpoint, from a municipality standpoint, I never heard that before.
Well, let me
Because from a
explain it to you.
countywide level,
Let's-
they didn't
let's-
take anything from us from that.
As a village resident, here's what happened. 7 years ago, the state took revenues away from, the village. And so the village increased our millage to, 2 mills.
Okay.
They were authorized but not administered. So that happened 7 years ago. And so,
Was it revenue
basically
sharing?
you're asking now some more millage to compensate for the millage that we already gave up 7 years ago. And we're still looking for that money coming back from the state.
Okay, I'll check into it. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
any
Spicer.
questions? Any more questions?
I just think it's a stretch with all the, fix the dang road, raise the gas tax and that, I just think it's a stretch to fix the damn road when they haven't been fixed.
Spicer.
I understand that. We recognize that.
Thank you.
Good evening. I believe everyone received a copy of the engineer's report for this month. Thoughts and condolences to the board and the village on Lois and Ed, who did you say else from DDA, was it?
Karen Wood.
Karen Wood. Like I said, John Olson reached out to me and expressed his thoughts and prayers as well, so. Good news is we've pretty much wrapped up phase 1 for what we can complete this winter. Water services are done, cut cap and abandonments have been completed. I think Air Construction's working on just wrapping up the remainder of some cleanup, tidying some things up, getting some equipment out of here, and we'll be back in the spring to do, paving, restoration, crush and shape sidewalk. I'm gonna bet their subcontractor, as soon as we get a little bit warmer, is gonna wanna get right on the concrete work, so that'll get going, and then they're itching to get all the paving done, because they've got more projects to head to this summer, so. Overall, just went through the budget numbers today with Hart and Don, and, I think we came in a little bit over on the water main work, which a lot of it was associated, all of it was associated to a lot of the work we did on private property, replacing galvanized services into the houses. Overall, right now, I would say the project is on budget, and, kind of projecting it out based on the quantities we have, it looks like we're gonna come in right where we need to be, so. And we are still carrying quite a bit of contingency that we'll probably hang on to a little bit as we wrap up paving for, anything that may come up. Any questions regarding the phase 1 project? Like I said, I think, everything's turned out pretty well. It's, where we started last March to where we're at today, it's come a long way, so.
Yeah, I fully expect to come in under budget, like at least, I'm gonna go conservatively 11,000 easy.
When did we say we're gonna wrap up phase 1?
It'll probably be wrapped up May, I would say. I think right now the completion date's in June, so. Once they get back here to do cleanup and the paving and stuff, it's not gonna take long, but it's just gonna be getting them back here to do it, weather cooperating. Asphalt plant's gotta fire up usually the end of April, so. Weather's gonna play a lot in that, and then obviously they'll get the grass seed down and topsoil as soon as they can, so. Drinking water asset management grant in the final stages of that. It's due in July, so we've got wrapping up the report right now, met with Don, we've got a few water services to verify on the interior, we wanna get those taken care of the next month or so. Gonna schedule a GIS training to get the DPW, just in front of the GIS program the village has, they purchased through the SAW grant, and, hopefully make that a little bit more user-friendly when it comes to asset management, staking out misdigs, and anything else they want, they wanna use it for. So, we did apply last month for, they're called TMF grants through the state. The state came out with another funding program for communities that specifically have lead and galvanized water services and have been identified, which we did in, obviously in the phase one project and then as well as in the DWAM grant. Grants were up to 600,000 and I think we applied for just under that amount, about 597,000. And that will allow the village, if received, to go out and locate the rest of their services and identify the material.
And I think there was $48 million available.
Yeah.
And $67 million
Yep.
worth of work came in.
Yep.
So if everybody went for 600, which I don't think they probably did, only 19 communities would be left out. So I think we have a really good chance at this.
You know,
And
a
it
lot
might
of-
not be full 595, it might be 300, but it's still better than, better than zero.
You know, and one of the things when it came to, you know, they're gonna score this based on funds you have received, and, you know, the village did receive the drinking water asset management grant, but one unique thing about this grant specifically is it targets communities with known lead and galvanized services. So I think that's gonna go quite a ways in the scoring, but we'll keep you guys updated on that. Hart and I wrapped up the Safe Routes to School project today. I think that was all submitted.
It was submitted, accepted, wonky MDOT grant program, but we made it work and let everybody at the school know. They seemed very excited. We had a Safe Routes representative with us the whole step of the way. Project came in at just over $1 million, about $1,031,000. So if we do get it, that's 3 new roads, all new sidewalks. It'll be a big project for not only the school, but for obviously the village, so.
I think that's all I have. Any questions?
Rich, I don't know if I asked you this before, and I'm not sure, Hart, if I asked you or Don, but when you're done with this project on this side of town, is there anything that needs to be done on this side of town like that?
There is, and we looked at and kind of put some capital projects together, and a lot of it comes down to what we can afford to do. I mean, there's still some work back here that needs to be completed that had to get
Because this
cut.
is the older side of town, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay.
I thought you said you're just trying to replace the older ones first.
Yep, old and undersized. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, we came up with this we were starting to plot the water main breaks on a map and said, hey, these are our problem areas, let's tackle them first.
Phase 2 is pretty much still on that side though, isn't it?
No,
There's a little bit there.
It'll be probably equally shared.
Yeah, it'll start working its way over.
Right, this is, I mean, we have some problematic areas on this side of town too that will
One
be.
road over.
Yeah, Maple Street will probably be number one.
And-
Maple
And Maple's
and,
included in that
Maple and
safe
Cherry.
routes.
Cherry needs some
So
work here.
it'd be, priority 1 is all of Walnut past the school. Priority 2 is Maple, and then priority 3 is Ithaca and Spruce getting sidewalk and a road out the back of the school.
No.
Good.
I mean, the goal eventually is to replace all cast iron main, and there is some, definitely some on the north side of town also, so.
Thank you, Mitch.
No problem, thank you.
Thanks, Mitch. Council minutes approval, council minutes for January 10th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to accept the council minutes.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Commission committee report. School Parks and Recreation Committee, January 17th, 2024.
So on our DDA report, can I ask you, if you can't tell me this, that's fine.
That's the next one, we're on the Parks and Rec one right now.
Okay.
Pardon?
Somebody said something about put a pickleball or something uptown?
That's what the talk has been, looking at quotes right now, but we still have to clear the land
Would you
first.
think they'd just keep the park with stuff like that with the park? I mean, why would you put it right uptown?
They're thinking during the Christmas, parade to have it ice skating rink downtown with lights so people driving through can see it, but we're not to that stage yet.
Right on toward the busy road, I
Where
don't
would
know.
they put it?
Pardon?
Where would they put an ice skating rink?
In the pickleball courts,
Oh, at the park.
at the new land that they just purchased.
Oh, is that big enough?
It's 0.13 of an acre, but they want a lit ice skating rink and pickleball courts potentially. Obviously, Mr. Gerber resigned and Karen passed away, so we have some openings and, we'll see what they wanna do.
Make a motion to accept the Parks and Recreation Committee report of January 17th, 2024.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Okay, so can I ask you,
Downtown Development Authority, February 2nd, 2024.
can I ask you exactly what John Gerber's problem was with the parking lot?
He doesn't have any access to it because it's a private lot.
Oh, he knew that.
He's claiming he did not know that at the time of purchase. I'm working on a lease agreement now and hopefully something comes through and we can all agree to something.
Interesting. Make a motion to accept the Downtown Development Authority minutes of February 2nd.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Communications, Review Magazine.
Did you set an article to this yet about our water?
No, Mitchell and I are working on it.
Okay.
We're working on a couple of them actually. One for their magazine and one bigger, broader, more outreach, so
Okay.
we'll see what happens. It's a good one. Good information. Anybody who's trying to get appointed, learn. That's always important. What do they serve them first? Hey, I'll sign up.
Has anybody did this orientation thing here? On the,
Paul
You did
took it.
that?
I did it when I was a county commissioner.
oh, okay,
It was interesting.
you learn a lot,
Yeah.
enough?
And I get people from all over the state that come to that.
Yeah.
You don't need a motion to.
Mm-mm.
Payment of claims,
Somebody asked me, I'm looking at the dumpster thing, how much we spend on that.
On
The
dumpsters,
dumpsters are that are up there,
behind the Goodrich,
correct?
where there's 4 or 5
The
of them.
museum.
Yeah. Who moved them?
Well, then who do they belong to?
One's the museum, one is ours.
One is the Village of St. Charles, the others are all owned by other businesses.
Well, I was wondering, because they actually looked like my mom's was up there.
Your mom's is up there.
But I don't think she
She-
told him.
She wants
get
it
it out.
moved back.
No, she's already told him, get it out of there.
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay.
Then make sure.
But somebody's asked me, can anybody dump in there that's in the village limits? And what's the restrictions on that?
That's where it gets hairy, just like the dumpsters at the park, you know, before we started locking them, we'd come back and there's couches in there every weekend.
Well, that's why my mom's getting rid of it,
Yeah.
because people just dump things in there, and then when Waste Management dumps that, it literally takes a picture of it and sends it to them, so she's getting an overcharge
Wow.
every week or whatever, extra $50-$60, she's like, that's it, done.
Yeah, we started
She's
locking
fighting with
ours.
them every week.
It's bad.
They can put locks on them.
Well, I put a lock on it, but it's supposed to unlock the thing when they dump it,
Oh.
but that's just a plastic lid, and they just pull it off the side, and away they go. Then another thing too, they just dump stuff next to it, that's ridiculous.
Ours are supposed to be for official use only, but that goes, you know, how far it goes.
Yeah, so,
Like I said, I'd rather see them throw it in the dumpster than throw it on the side of the road, I guess.
Exactly. so which one is it?
Ours is the Billy's one up there.
The Billy's,
Is
the red one?
Village one. And the other one, the yellow one belongs to the museum, that's supposed to be leaving when they're
That-
done cleaning
I
out.
was gonna say, that should've been
There's
gone
like a
a long
construction
time ago.
dumpster, they don't look like regular.
Yeah, that should
dumpsters.
probably be gone, but I didn't think it'd be there that long.
So the other two, what if people start putting stuff in them,
Right.
who's it gonna charge?
I don't know, I'm not the dumpster police.
Just saying.
The person whose name's on the contract.
Right.
Ours says for official village use only, that's, can't watch it 24/7, so.
Say that, but I'm just saying, because people are asking, can they dump stuff in there, I don't know what to tell them.
If they don't pay for it, they shouldn't, no, everybody has trash
Oh,
pickup.
no.
If they say no, they'll still do it.
I was gonna say,
Even
tell
them guys are
no,
only
but
gonna
you
take
know,
so
No,
much,
no.
like you got
They
them
just
big
want-
during the week.
Maybe there's a chance to get their blessing.
I mean, if they're doing a construction project, they need to figure that out on their
Yeah.
own.
Yes.
You know,
I don't have that much trash,
Exception.
so don't worry about it, yeah.
but I mean, everybody has trash pickup, so, you know, normal trash, that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, but there's days where you miss the trash.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment of claims in the amount of $104,407.39.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? New business. Letters of interest. Assuming that's for the vacant
There is
village council seat.
There is a vacant, council seat due to Lois's passing. And Michigan compiled law 62.13 allows this president and this council to approve immediately or any impact, the next person to take the seat until the election. The last day to file for the election is July 23rd, 2024, just so you know. So they would fill the role until November. Some people have come in today wanting to give it a trial run if they get appointed, and if they like it, maybe in July run. And if not, they'll just say goodbye. But what we have done in the past with vacancies is posted in the paper, kind of put it on the internet so that people have ample time to send in their letter of interest, and then when they come in, you guys can ask them questions. What are their priorities? What are their goals? Why do you want to be on the council?
What if there's 10 people? I mean,
That's-
how do you dwindle it down to one?
I've passed over as one of 4 before, but never
Well,
one
then
of
the
10.
election's coming up this year, right?
Correct.
So.
So they would just fill
It's
the
only
role.
gonna be so they're only gonna be placed in there for a couple months.
What, 9
I
months?
believe
And then they go on the ballot.
lowest seat was up
Yeah.
this term anyways, I
Correct.
believe, right?
Yeah.
Plus a few others, mine as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The old,
It's gotta be filled.
the old politician in you that, you know, looks, you run for the appointment, you get the appointment, then you can say, I'm on the council. You look like an incumbent rather than a newcomer, and you can use that as you go petition people for your votes or knock doors or whatever. That's kind of the thought process behind that, but we'll see who shows their other interest, but I do need your approval to move forward in this way.
I'll make a motion to approve,
I'll
or
support.
to move forward on this vacancy.
I think there's a few people that showed interest too, so.
There's been a few already, yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item B, Little League.
Every spring, their season begins with a park cleanup, and they play on those fields about 4 days a week. The village rents the Little League, the parks access for $1 every year. It's kind of ceremonial rather than give me your dollar. So this is just a note to let you know when their park cleanup is, April 13th. They are starting to have meetings and picking teams soon. Talked with one of the members of the Little League today. They asked permission to paint the Field 2 dugouts. Same color at their expense, absolutely. And then
Those just painted a year or so
the
ago?
roofs were redone, but
Oh, okay.
not the paint. And then they're talking about new fencing, which is something the Parks Committee we've discussed. I said, bring us some quotes and we'll go from there, but they've raised some funds, more funds than they thought. And with the village helping them out with the field so much, they're looking at investing themselves as well. So hopefully we'll have some news on
Fence
that.
really that bad up there, or you gotta replace it?
They wanna put in a whole new one for, T-ball. They've
Oh.
got so many young players now that they had to start a whole new field with, you know, snow fencing, and they're looking to make it more permanent. We're looking at moving park equipment back there, so when the travel tournaments come, the little siblings have something to play on as well, and then I think it's field 2 in the middle and the back, it's kinda sunken down, and kids are trying to jump over it and hitting it and knocking it worse. We'll meet about that in the future, but this is just the ceremonial $1, let them know that they have access to the fields. We do need a motion and support for that.
I'll make a motion, we allow the Little League to
Support it.
make their dugouts. and-
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Strike zone baseball, softball tournaments.
So this is, different than the Little League, this is a private softball, like, this is real tournaments, weekends, $300 travel teams, $300 a team, or to enter, a little bit more money to play. They had a soft launch in the fall, I think they ended up with 8 teams, and they're looking to expand. The Parks Committee looked at this,
Is this youth or this regular adults?
this is, I think, 18U to 13U. 8U to 13U, I believe. Parks Committee thought $150 weekend was a fair price to charge them for using the fields. It covers most of the cost of, say, if you wanted to rent a pavilion that weekend, you cannot, because there's going to be a full parking lot. Huge issue that we're still working through. There's gonna be nowhere to go. There's gonna be, you know, 3 games going at one time, 2 teams, parents, grandparents, so. Mr. Milgren and I are working on creative ways to find additional parking. They're looking at putting their own porta johns in. We'll put some in April for the Little League and for, people that walk. So, approval from this council for $150 a weekend for these 3 weekends from strike zone private tournament, where it gets a little hairy and I'm gonna take the side away and get out of it. Who owns the concession stand? We do. Who pays the health department for the food and beverages? The Little League. Who wants the money from the concessions? All of them. So I'm gonna let Little League and the travel ball, adults figure that out.
So
We
we
still-
already do a baseball tournament during the winter up there at the strike zone?
They have tournaments all the time, adult tournaments, things like that.
They hold tournaments inside their facility because they have a machine that does, it's the hit track.
Simulator.
It's a hit track simulator, so they can run tournaments during the winter time. But one thing they could do if there's an issue with the concession is, what a lot of tournaments do is they bring in their own food trucks.
Which
And
is-
there's, looking at the area back there, right by the old swimming facility, whatever it is, you can park them right there in that grass area. Back in there somewhere, probably. There's a trail that goes back there. But the biggest thing is what, from my experience with travel stuff, is you play in the morning, you have a game in the afternoon, you don't leave. So then where is the incoming players gonna have to go, or the teams and stuff like that? That's gonna be the biggest issue, is parking, like you said.
There's gonna be parking, but luckily, when I came up here with my niece for a tournament, we went to Bad River, we went to Cam's, we went to the Alley, we went to Subway. Mike was sold out of Gatorade and water at Frank's.
Oh, yeah,
It's great for the
businesses will-
community.
Yeah, the businesses will be booming.
Parents will spend
your
$800 to
parking is gonna be the
$1,300 a
issue.
weekend in the village for this. But you're right, parking will be a problem. Again, working on it, trying to work with everybody to figure it out, whether it's parking on the basketball courts with local people. Well, we look at ways to add, like $74,000 was the quote to pave and expand the parking lot there.
Don't we have a little spot somewhere in the park you can rope off to do a little bit of
I think
overflow?
the basketball court would be perfect. I think the old skating rink, if we open that up, would be perfect.
Something where you- I know the kids are in there, that's
Or is
the
that,
problem.
no.
They can do
Little
it, I don't know
overflow
if they
action
will.
would-
Ryan and I haven't expanded upon this, he wanted to see how tonight went, and then we'll get together and try to figure out some creative ways, kinda like Rebel Magnolia. Park at the school, we'll bus you over, or, park up at the Entrepreneur and take the rail trail in. It's a little bit of a walk.
I remember early '90s when they had, they repaved the road, redid a lot in the park there, but they did all the parking. You were coming in off Sunview, and you went right there to Niederstadt's house. You went in, it was all taped, marked off, all parking in the grass. Of course, that's all the foot trail now, the mile loop.
I wouldn't mind seeing some stonecrete in there, or something to
Right.
try to at least create a walking path. I know people on Sunview will be upset, just like they were with Rebel. But if it helps people get to and from games,
The village owns that easement, right?
just a
Right
little
there
bit.
in
Down the
front of-
weather
right-
too,
right
I
in
mean,
front
if
of
it's all
Bristol.
sloppy
In
and
front of
wet, I mean, you
Bristol.
can't really pull cars in there.
What about the township parking lot, would they be able to park there?
Oh, yeah,
Maybe.
we'll call the guy.
You know somebody that could
$50
give
an
us
axle.
permission?
They'll park at the alley though, I
They're
don't
willing to
know.
make a donation to the fire department?
I don't know if Marnie's will be open, if they'll allow parking there, but I mean, everything's gonna be packed. It's gonna be a zoo.
But money,
The local,
lots of money.
about $700 more a day at each eatery.
Well, I wouldn't have a problem with the Little League opening up their concession stand and making a little money for the Little League.
I know, but I think the strike zone wants to do it and make the money. So maybe they split it, maybe they, once they get big, they start kicking it back to the parks, we'll see. It's early.
I'll make a motion to approve the strike zone tournaments for the weekends of April 26th through 28th, May 3rd through the 5th, and July 19th through the 21st.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Park cleanup?
The bottom of that, April 13th, they like to start early to get out early. They'll be up there around 8. Try to be done by noon. They mostly focus on just the fields, not the park. But it's great help and really makes the fields look nice. Gets the leaves out of the dugouts, which is huge. And where you kind of suggested the food trucks is where they want to put their permanent T-ball field, so we'll see what kind of fencing pricing comes back.
Okay.
So, But just to let you know, we've helped in the years past with, you know, told them where to put the leaves, or even gone up on Saturday to just get things out of there. But just thought you should know, and if you see a bunch of cars up there, oh, they're just cleaning. They're not stealing stuff.
Should they set a date?
April
April
13th.
13th.
Item E, set fiscal year 2024-2025 budget discussion, draft handout only.
So on your desk when you came in was the draft 24-25 fiscal year budget. We will go over at a date and time you set, whether it's next Wednesday or the following Wednesday. Just to go over line by line, item by item, what we're looking at coming in, what we're looking at going out. The workshop kind of was started by Matt Lane. I didn't use it in the past, I didn't used to do it. But just continue it to, everybody can get on the same page and see what's going on. I'll bring all the information that you might need. I'll send it out to you probably this week too. Where the numbers come from, the formulas for some of the major roads, local roads, what the state's gonna provide. Property tax values, what's coming in, what's delinquent at the time. Things of that nature. Water fund, sewer fund, enterprise funds that we can't really touch. They are supposed to be self-sustaining. The village street fund, as we discussed. So, when your availability allows, talk amongst yourselves.
I'm good with next Wednesday.
I'm good with next Wednesday.
7 o'clock.
I feel like if we go,
Parks is here
We
at
have a parks
5:30.
meeting at
It normally
5:30.
goes about an hour.
yeah,
It really should go about a half an hour. But
Do we wanna try to set it for 6:30? Or you wanna just do 7?
I'm
Go for
thinking
6:30.
7 just in case the,
let's push you guys out of here, get going at 6:30.
I don't care. Whatever majority wants to do.
So meeting,
Because if we go another week, then you're looking at too close to even.
and I think with the amount of days we need to post the truth and taxation
Yep.
for the next meeting, I think next week gives us ample time to get it in the paper legally.
6:30 or 7?
We can do 7, I don't know.
Let's do 7.
Perfect.
What day is this?
Next Wednesday.
April 21st.
Want me to do 2
Well,
weeks, 2
little
Wednesdays in a
stuff for
row?
you.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I want.
Put it in my phone right now.
I'm gonna go down to Knoxville and get my truck.
So we get on that, Tim?
Do you vote?
Need a vote. Need a motion.
I make a motion that we set our fiscal year budget discussion for Wednesday, February 21st at 7 o'clock PM.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item F, recognition of service for Mr. Tito Gana.
Next Friday is Tito's last day, 38 years with the village. One place every day, your whole life it seems. He's starting to get sentimental, a little sappy, had everybody sign his hard hat today. He'll have a party, Memorial Day weekend, but I thought it'd be, I just put together a little something that we'll give him along with this clock. He said if you wanna look at the clock we bought, on behalf of the village for him. That said, it's all he wanted. I thought about just giving him that broken one in the back. That seems to be working tonight, but like Kathy said, maybe wrap it up and give it to him as a joke and then take it back and give him the real one. I know he plans to spend some time in Arizona. I know he plans to see some family in Texas a little bit, but he's starting to get a little emotional. You know, he's been here 38 years full-time, but he's here on and off before that, so it's closer to 40, 42 years.
Is he still gonna be available?
He's traveling.
Contract.
He's traveling, but I'm sure he'll be calling them more than we'll be calling him, hopefully.
We may tap him for some intellectual knowledge from time to time, but we're gonna try not to bother him.
Need a
too
boulevard
much.
after him.
Yeah.
Tito gone.
I do wanna put, he does, the other thing he wanted, I think, is,
of him.
he wants 2 plaques on the bicycles on the floorboards. Those are scrap metal that he built himself on his spare time and never told anybody until just recently. Both of those large
bikes
bicycles.
by
Tony
Tony,
himself in the.
one on the north end of town by
He's
Woodlawn.
pretty handy. He's fixed a lot of equipment for us, you know, for free. You know, equipment operator, water main leaks, water breaks. Everybody in this town knows Tito. You see
Guitar
him.
player.
Probably the most beloved employee the village has ever had. You know, I drive by, sometimes I get a finger. Tito always gets a wave, so.
Tobacco skills unmatched by anyone.
I get that same problem.
But, yeah, he's starting to get sappy. He came in twice today, make sure his retirement paperwork's all done right, he's not gonna miss anything. I signed it right, yep. So this is just a tribute I want you guys to have. We'll give him a copy again, a nice one on colored paper, so.
My name's spelled wrong.
Is it
by the
really?
way.
Oh, I see it now. Good thing we didn't give it to him yet. Everybody might wanna check their name. There we go. New save. Print it out right now. Your computer now. Done.
Wasn't trying to be.
No,
Karen.
I-
Wasn't trying to be a Karen.
Yeah, well,
It's okay, you got Vernon High School.
Well, I was
on record, Edwin.
I was actually gonna have everyone sign it, but then I saw Don's chicken scratch and I was like, I can't do that to a nice letter that I drafted. So I was like, let's just put everybody's name on it and call it good. No offense.
Tito does really care about this village. You know, I mean, you get frustrated at times, but that's a long time to be in one place. He's seen a lot of change and ups and downs, and he came to work when the flood of '86 started, so he got thrown right in the fire, you know, so. Yeah, I appreciate his service to the
Yeah,
village.
he's a hard worker. He still pushes the other guys. You know, back in my day, I could do it easier. Well, just give me the shovel, I'll do it. But he'll be missed for sure.
Absolutely.
But now that he's leaving, that institutional knowledge is gone. That's why I think we need to move toward the GIS, see where everything's at. It's all technological. It's all right there. It shows you exactly where the private side is, exactly where the water pit is, exactly where this is, and so that where's whatever house? Oh, it's right there. We can go right to it. Whereas Tito will. I think I put it in '87. It should be right here. No, I put it in across the street. I don't know why, but I did.
We tell him he's chasing unicorns once in a while, but for the most part, he's right, so.
Yeah. We were on Main Street one time and I'm like, it should be over here based on the maps that we had. He goes, no, it's over there. I'm like, why would it be over there? He goes, because I put it over there. I'm like, why? He goes, I don't remember. There's like a rock here or something. So I just crossed it. Why?
Still classic when he's rolling around with the blueprints of 1939 and stuff.
He's got them organized.
Breaks them out like if they're in a treasure chest or something.
We're gonna, like Hart said, we're gonna have some training on the GIS and we'll start easing our way that way. I mean, paper maps are still great.
But it's easy now. Everything, you blow it up, see right where it
The
is.
younger kids know how to operate that a little easier.
Don has an Android, so he's upset we're moving to a tablet, an iPad. Everything's
We'll figure
backwards.
it out.
Alright, on to old business. Generator for the DPW building.
Mr. Kendall requested 3 quotes and it behooved the village.
Come up cheaper.
Yep.
Good.
Great call.
Yeah, why is Hubble so much more expensive?
I think
Still, what is one? Is one better than the other? I mean.
I think part of it includes the maintenance rather than just the this looks like it's just the machine.
Well, the
the
contract should
equipment.
be just for the installation of the new generators.
Yeah, this is just installation generator gone. This is installation
Oh,
generator
they want
stay.
a 5-year warranty.
What's the warranty on Mr.
Hubble's.
Hubble's quote?
5 years,
5 years.
2,000 an hour. But what's the difference between the Generac and the Kohler is what you gotta look at too, I mean, what's one,
I've heard great things about both.
that I'm saying,
Mr. Hubble said Kohler model, he's had zero problems with the Generac, he's had to replace a few parts on, but again, in my experience, I've never had
Generacs
a
are
problem with
everywhere,
the
I don't
Generac.
see Kohlers everywhere.
Correct.
So as far as replacement parts, it might be easier to go with the Generac.
It's true.
Mr. Hubble's been into the Generacs for a long time. I would wonder why he suggest a Kohler then.
I work with his brother at Eaton, so. Good deal. I don't know. Money talks, I guess. Flip a coin, but I mean, you're talking $3,000-4,000 difference, I mean, is it really that much of a difference?
Right. Did you saw, they were
We're getting our
got
money's
31
worth out of the
that came in,
cheaper
right?
ones, is what I'm asking.
78,
Right.
97.30, and 78, that's your lowest one there, yeah?
And you still got I mean, something's gonna happen, it's probably gonna happen within the first 5 years, so, I mean, I'm gonna have to say go with the lower one, but that's me.
Make the motion.
Make the motion to pass it. Cooper, right? Cooper Electric. 7,800? That's what I'm looking at.
You need to officially say.
I'll make a motion to approve the quote for Cooper Electric for the new generator DPW building.
Support?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Approved for Cooper.
Money involved, roll call vote.
Ah,
I wasn't gonna make you roll call for the Little League dollar, sorry.
That could be funny.
it's a roll call vote.
Jamie Kendall,
Yes.
Darcy McSwain,
Yes.
Paul Jenderski, Edgar Titoff,
Yes.
Michael Nesbitt,
Yes.
Kathy Harris.
Yes.
And the department reports, DPW,
January of 2024 on the water side, we pumped 4.1 million gallons, so 129,000 gallons a day. We did take our disinfection byproduct sample, there was no result above the maximum contaminant level. We did have a water main break on West Maple here, and that definitely should be a issue with the phase two. It was a good one, so, and that's the old cast iron main there too, so. And then we did have to replace one antenna on the meter pit, and that's how it communicates with the water tower. That was down for about a day, and we had to run it manually. The sewer, we pumped about 8.5 million gallons, about 274,000 gallons a day. We did have to clean a sewer service line at 512 Hanchett. The streets, just routine plowing and salting, hauled snow, patching. On the equipment side, we are working on the street sweeper. We tidy that up every spring, so we'll just go through it, and any parts that need replaced. Miscellaneous, we did take down all the Christmas decorations and Christmas tree. As Hart said, the 23rd is Tito's last day for 37 years, so. He is getting a little sentimental, I think, but, no, it's, he,
You signed my hard hat, like that's not getting a little bit settlement.
we were never gonna get him to come to a village council meeting, that's not his cup of tea.
Yeah, I've
so,
tried to do it
but-
here with him and give him.
But I think we'd get him here in the council room, take some pictures with Hart maybe and present him something,
Maybe on the 23rd, just make sure he doesn't take the Dodge,
yeah.
his truck.
You guys wanna sell it to him for $1, I don't know.
We'll talk about it during the budget process. He's had that truck for a long time.
Oh, Any questions, comments, concerns? The water main project, as Mitch said, all the pipes in the ground.
One question, what was that catch basin that you guys took out of? What the heck was that underneath the water tower?
That was just some of the old structure that was there.
I'm just like, what the heck would, is that even in use? Whatever happened to that
No.
road? They sell that property where that road was?
They abandoned it, actually. Yeah, gave half to the homeowner and the other half belongs to the village. That was just some of the old control structure that was abandoned years ago. They just never removed it, so
I knew there used to be kind of a
yeah, we jerked the
shady
manhole
road that
over
went
there.
through there one time.
Yeah, kinda cleaned it up. All the power's been disconnected for a long time, so. No, that was part of this project, was that old main that ran to that tower was still connected. And that was a ticking time bomb, so that was all disconnected and abandoned, so it's. There was an old cast iron main that ran down Chestnut Street for a block there that we officially abandoned and.
That didn't make any sense to me why the catch basin was there.
Well, that was just the cover for the control structure.
Yeah.
There was some valving and some, from back in the day, and they, when they turned it off, they just kinda shut it off and walked away from it back in the day, so. And it's officially abandoned and disconnected now, so.
Police report.
Oh, right. Been a little busy, lots of stuff going on. We'll start with the schedule. If you see this January schedule, it's the first month in quite a while we've had every Friday and Saturday night coverage for the entire month. Haven't had a break in that situation, so. That was one of the angles I was shooting for, what I wanted to get done, and it's there now. Now we've got a rotation down. Curtis is about halfway through his FTO program. So once he gets done, I talked to Hart today about what we could do with scheduling, looking at a 12. What Ethan and Curtis would be like on a 12-hour rotation, which would put us to have every night coverage for the most part, except for Sunday, which would be a short day. Cause the way it works is every 2 weeks, basically, the way the rotation is. But we're gonna look on that to see what I can do with the days on that, as opposed to doing 10-hour shifts. And what the coverage would be like. We're just gonna choose the best option there for the most coverage. And then the thing with the 12s is then they would have to go on a bi-weekly pay scale, so we had to run that by Marguerite to make sure that was okay, that kinda stuff, but, so far that's going good. Terms of calls, there's only kinda two that's kinda sticks out. We had one where the 414 Bell Avenue with the assault, and then the resisting an officer was a 14-year-old kid that's a really big kid. He has some issues, and he just had a bad day. And Curtis took a ride, so. Actually, he kinda tumbled down the stairs. It was quite funny watching it from the body camera footage, cause the stepdad, when the body camera fell off, you see the stepdad looking down at it, and he picks it up and he holds it and to the officer, so it shows what was going on, so it was kinda kudos to him. Got everything on camera, it was good, because it was a slow motion fall off the side of the porch, like Humpty Dumpty, and then his legs kicked in the air a little bit like a turtle before he finally got it. It's quite comical, I laughed, I replayed it twice.
In slow-mo?
Yes, I did. And then he proceeded to catch a little flack from that for a couple days. And then it's been around, people have heard about it, the attempted suicide at the park. We got a call from the female's counselor called dispatch saying that somebody that she's with is, I'm not gonna say her client, but her patient. One of her patients that called her said she had a can of gas and was threatening suicide. Wouldn't tell her where she was. I went to the house and there was no cars there, as I'm checking the house. Found out she had kids at school, called the school, the kids are at school, so they're not in danger. Deputy was coming into town. We got a description of the vehicle that she was driving. good part on him, he heard that where she lived at, knew there was a detective over there, called the detective, say, hey, these are your neighbors, where do they drive? Got the description of the vehicle was in the park, which I had passed it earlier in the day, just figured it was another empty car that somebody's walking, like every day, there's cars there all the time, didn't stick out. But it was actually her car that was in there, so I headed over there, and as I was pulling into the park, the deputies running across the parkway from one of the, from the woodside pointing, screaming, and I look over and there's just a big ball of flames in the gazebo. She had lit herself on fire. So I just drove the car up on the grass and got over there, and he's following me on foot, and, had to put her out. She was still on fire, so that was a new one for me.
She okay?
She's still in the hospital, I think. I see her husband dropping the kids off and picking them up every day, so he's around, but she used to do that, so. I haven't heard any different than that, but I think she's still, once she got out of the burn unit, she was gonna go to a mental facility to get some help,
Okay.
so. It was different.
As soon as she did it, she regretted it.
Oh, she started screaming. The guys from the Quick Loop heard her scream, so they came out, looked, and saw the flames and didn't see us in the park, and they came running too to help. They didn't know what was going on. But you get out of the car and get up to her, and she's coming at you, engulfed in flames. You could just see the regret in her face. It's, yeah, something you won't ever forget.
Don't envy you.
Yeah. So those are really the only two calls that kind of stand out for the month. Everything else is kind of routine stuff.
Everything went okay on Flint Street?
That's the next topic.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Call volume total, it's about the same. Report volume's down a little bit. But I wanted to touch base with what was talked about earlier about Michelle. I talked to Hart about today. It took me a little bit to realize why her reports were taking a little bit longer than others to get. It's because she's really thorough. I found that out about her. She's really thorough, especially when it comes to stuff with the school. She doesn't take a shortcut. She top to bottom, it's by the book. If it's gonna take her an extra 3 or 4 days, it's gonna take her an extra 3 or 4 days, but she's gonna do it the right way, and all the T's are gonna be crossed and I's are gonna be dotted, all that kind of stuff. I'm really impressed with the way she's doing and handling things up there in school, so, great job. Can't see if she's doing this good right now, I can't imagine what's gonna be like when she got a few years under her belt, so. She's doing really good up there for us, the school likes it, and it takes a lot of she's busy, so it's taking a lot of the workload off of me from having to be in the school to do that stuff. Which is one of the reasons that we have an SRO, is to handle that stuff, let alone the security stuff, so. Doing really good on that.
It was a great hire.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope she stays with us.
She's very
for a while.
appreciated in
Yeah,
school.
I don't, the vibe that I get from her is, I don't think she's gonna be somebody that jumps around. Because her first department she was with, they cut her loose, didn't pass her through FGO, we gave her the chance. We believed in her,
I believe somebody in the interview said she just needs a chance.
yeah. Hard neck, she's somebody that needs a chance in a smaller area where she can develop, and she's done that, so.
Great training, you can moldable when they're that
Mhm.
young and they're that inexperienced. The chief can do mold them into an example of what he wants to see out of the
Probably
department.
it ain't just a training period for us, when somebody ends up moving somewhere else, we get in here.
Yeah.
I don't see
No.
that happening.
She's
with
pretty
her.
happy.
Good.
She's happy with what she does, I don't get that at all from her, so. On to Flint Street, so Friday was the day.
They have photos of the cleanup.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good, it actually, it looks a lot better, the day started off a little rough. I had brought in Michelle as an overtime shift, she was the one that we had available to sit on the house, because I couldn't account for me if I had to go take a call and then leave them guys there by themselves, so and we agreed on that, and so she was there all day, and actually was 10.5 hours the first day that she was there. And I was there back and forth most of the day, because like I said, the first part of the day was kinda rough. He was upset and emotional, which we figured was gonna happen, so.
Did he know it was coming?
What's
Yeah,
that?
I don't
Oh,
get
he
it.
was,
It was court ordered.
it was court ordered, and he was, Scott had met with him on Wednesday and told him we were coming on Friday. Which is why the fencing showed up on Thursday, and then Friday morning, he tried putting it up when we were there. He had the basic framework of it done, but he had the panels on the trailer still and hadn't put them up, so. I mean, it was a rough first 3 or 4 hours, but then he'd been drinking, We could tell that, and he drank right in front of us. So I got an idea that, and everybody knows you drink a little bit, then you get a bunch of food and you go to sleep. So I went and got a bunch of pizzas for the work crew and ourselves and fed him some pizza, and it was about 30 minutes later he was out and we never saw him again, so. The plan worked, which is good. They got to work, they got to do their stuff, but it took forever.
2 days, 17
We
hours.
had to come back the next
Is it
day.
done?
And nobody was available, so I came back in Saturday morning and worked and sat in the house for another 7.5 hours. So it was about 18 hours total for them to take it all out, but we never saw them at all on Saturday.
What to say it's not gonna happen again, the buildup?
Well, from what Scott says, as soon as he puts something on there, he's gonna get another ticket. And then if he doesn't do it, then it goes back to court, and then it's again court ordered to clean it up. But if he puts the fence up, that's all he needs to do, and he understands that. I sat there and listened to Scott explain it to him, and everybody explained it to him. The neighbors that came over to help explained it to him, that if he puts up a fence, there's nothing we can do, it's behind a fence. That's all I needed to do. So, I haven't seen him, I've checked quite a few times down there, I haven't seen the people, and I think his bike moved today for the first time. I don't know if he took off on it or if he just moved it.
Saw him
but-
yesterday.
Yeah, so at least I know he's out and about now, but he was, you think about the mentality of a hoarder, that's their livelihood that we just took from them,
Yeah, I
and what
get
it
it.
does to them, so, that was where he was really upset about it, but, I mean, if he starts it again, we'll just have to go through the whole thing, I mean, we can't physically stop him from doing
Think
it.
about how long it took him to accumulate all that stuff.
Yeah.
A long time.
And
Yeah.
now, the good news is now we can ding them every time and go to the courts, and as the judges see cases pile up, the judges take a more proactive approach. And as, like we said last month though, you saw those quotes for the cleanup job. One guy was 20,000, this team was 2,500, they are regretting their quote.
Yeah, he'd say he got there for an hour, and he actually walked back there with us, he goes, I underbid this. And that was all he said, he got into his truck, he got into his Bobcat and just started working.
So he didn't take a.
Well, he
run
drove
around?
by, but he never walked the property, cause he said he didn't feel comfortable doing it, and we said, well, we could've came over there with you and walked it with you.
Lesson learned
Cause he
there.
didn't, you can't see past that red fence, what was all behind the house. And when he saw that, he was like, oh man, yeah,
Oh, man. I
So-
said that was cheap for
That
what
was,
was over there.
I don't wanna say.
but there was a reason for that too, I mean, they had 2 dump trailers, and that's why it took forever, is cause we were constantly waiting on a trailer for them to fill up. You know, you get somebody that paid a little bit more money, we might have been there in 5 hours.
A lot of stuff.
You know, there's a lot of stuff, but, yeah. We got anything?
Good job, chief.
Was there something else we were gonna talk?
I'm gonna save it for next week, I kinda give a heads up, working on helping Thurston's.
Oh, okay, I did,
If
anybody
you
want
wanna
an
give them
explanation
the,
on that?
if you wanna give them the premise now, and we'll
Alright,
have the
they,
paperwork.
I was approached by Neil from Thurston's the other day, there is a new gun law that passed on the 13th, so it's already enacted. You now have to register rifles now, up to a certain length, just like you would a handgun. But now the new way of doing it is the person, if you're gonna go purchase a firearm from Thurston's, you have to go to a local police department and get a permit first before you can go buy the gun. So before, they could buy the gun, bring it to you, entered it, it's done, and we only did the entering from person to person. But now they've added this new thing to it, and so Thurston says, well, if nobody around here does it, I have to send them to Saginaw. So what's to say they go to Saginaw, get their permit from somebody else that does it, like Saginaw County, and then they just go to a store in Saginaw, buy the gun, and not come back to St. Charles, buy the gun. So he asked me if I'd be willing to help him out and do these permits. I said, I used to do them all the time. It's not a big deal. We just gotta figure out the wording on it. Before, I was charging people for this service, and there is cities in this county that do charge. Did some digging, hard wanted language on it, so we knew for sure what we were doing, and come to find out you legally can't charge anybody for that. The only thing you can charge them for is a notary. So, we're working on getting a notary in the office here, so that way, when people go to buy a gun from Thurston's, he says, okay, go to PD, I'll get the paperwork filled out, she notarizes it, we get our $10, they go back up to Thurston's and buy their guns, and the money stays here in town.
So when they do a background check, let's say you buy a gun. And then from there, they do the background check, then they got to go to Saginaw to get a permit first, they gotta get the permit first and then do the background check.
They have to get the permit first and then go back to the, okay, so
State, federal.
what Thurston's does is their checks are for federal. So say you get somebody that's gonna go buy a gun that had a domestic 2 days ago, that would keep him from getting that gun, or her, but it's in the state level, so it hasn't been put in the database, so it shows up on the federal stuff yet. So if he goes to Thurston's, their check's not gonna show up that he has that domestic report, which would keep him from getting that gun. Whereas in the state level it does, which is why we're now in the middle of doing these checks with them. And that's only for people that doesn't have CPLs. If you have a CPL, you do the same way, you go right on the michigансtate.gov website, do the form yourself, as before.
Just rifles, not shotguns or pistols, yeah.
It's rifles, pistols, that's it. It's rifles up to, I think 26 inches or something like that. I forget the wording on it, but it's up to a certain length of a rifle, I think, is how they determine it. I don't know how they determine the length of the barrel, but I don't know if that's for like excluding black powders or something like that, I don't know. But that's the reason for that, and it's, you know, it's something that I don't mind doing. It doesn't take that long. You know, if we do 5 a month, as busy they are, you know, you fit $50 extra that we didn't have before, just for having her notarize something, you know. Not that big deal, I don't think, so. And plus it helps Thurston's out,
Right.
so.
Keep it local, we'll just figure out
Yep.
some, like a resolution or something you to pass, because we're not gonna put it in our code per se, but something that says that we approved this and we're gonna do this, and just so if anybody questions us, we have evidence on how it went.
Scott's not here.
Scott's not here, I sent you the email why he's not here, but, things are moving along, Entrepreneur has got basically the concrete in the ground on their pole barn that they're adding onto their entire building, which is huge. Obviously Marnie's is moving forward, they got some plumbing and electrical done, so they should keep moving towards the restaurant in the near future. Those are the big ones.
There's a couple things, like off Chesaning and up Flint Street, that you got it all roofed off over there, what's up with that old barn that's falling down over there?
There's a pole barn over there, it's been there, it's old one, it's fallen over. And it fell over with a last big snowstorm we had, it's been just cautioned off.
Do you have the address on that by chance?
On the
Right on the corner, I mean, like,
Flint and
check his
Chesaning
name right
Street,
there,
the northwest corner.
Oh, crap, he was the one, the chicken guy,
McPhail?
McPhail.
yeah, it's right there by McPhail.
It's, yeah, kitty corner to Jim McPhail,
Gotcha.
the northwest corner of Flint and Chesaning.
I think Scott will be back to do some, he's gotta go to court, and then he'll be back and talk with me this week, so I'll send him over there. Either condemn it or do whatever we gotta do.
Yeah, it's a little blighty, I mean,
Yeah.
another blight right off Chesaning, I complain, but, you know, I go through a lot of these towns, but I've been at Saginaw, Flint, Detroit. Like, I went to a golf show last weekend over in Grand Rapids. Talk about night and day. I mean, as far as like cleaning things up, that place is really clean. They got their poop in a group. They really do. I mean, it's pretty slick over there compared to what we have over here on this side of the state. I know that's probably a little younger than some of these older cities, but I think with like the water tower improvement, I mean, I think we're doing it, but just it's like, I think there's other things we can do to get rid of some of the blight in this town, because everybody wants to work, live, play here. I mean, I live here, I don't just reside here, you know, so I'd like to be active and get things going to clean some of this stuff up. A lot of it I'm restricted on now, but we could have did some of that before and never did, but, yeah. But, yeah, there's a huge difference. I couldn't believe the difference just cruising around Grand Rapids versus Saginaw, Flint, Detroit, just huge difference, just in the cleanup, just eyesores, so.
I expect to see you at beautification day with the shovel in your hand.
Down there, did it for years.
Well, I recommended like last year, I think, for beautification day, why don't we just announce it as being like, you know, beautification day is on Friday. Put it in the citizens paper, you know, this is a weekend to clean your yards up, you know, paint outside or whatever, you know, and.
Yeah.
Some people do that.
I think we can get a lot of volunteers if we can do a little more
Well, I'd say
advertising. There's a
just
lot of people that are just looking for stuff to do.
Take
Yeah,
your,
but-
take your residence and do your own, you know, just clean up your yard, get junk out of your yard, you know.
I just
Village-wide cleanup.
Well, as you see, the active complaint log though, he's with Judge Frank on this day, Judge Frank that day, Judge Hoffman on that day, so it's going through the process. We gotta do it legally. As much as, you know, you wanna do it now.
I'm sure the neighbors are happy for now.
Well, they might be helping put up a fence tomorrow, who knows?
We're gonna need this for next week?
Yes.
Any more public comment?
I've got a couple questions First question is probably just a yes or no answer. Is the village of St. Charles solvent?
Absolutely. Our financial audit shows that we are solvent.
Second question, why would we hire a consultant to come in and consult our water bills?
He runs the reports, the financials, just to go through everything, and then kind of gauge out. He's just an expert in the water financial business.
Did we need to hire a, private consultant to do this?
We did it with a grant fund, with grant money, both times, the SAW grant and the DWAM grant, so the village didn't actually pay for him, the state did.
Did we cost share it?
The state paid for it.
Did he come in just for that though, or did he come in for other things? at the
He
same
came in
time?
before I got here in September of 19 for the SAW grant, to go through the financials to show us
I
where.
said, he doesn't just come in here just for the water, like he said.
No, he came in water and sewer and did a great study and model for our whole projections through 2042. And then we raised rates, we did projects, and so as part of the WAM grant, we had extra money that we didn't use, I think 44,000, and I don't think, he's definitely not a couple $1,000s maybe, to just to up the ante and show us where we needed to be based on this project, based on what the water pump station, based on phase 2, based on everything that we're trying to do, just to see, to make sure that we have funds available to try to go forward with phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, new pump stations, safe routes to school, lead service lines, things like that.
Third question, why can't we get our roads fixed? If we're solvent, we should be able to fix both North and North Main Street.
Lots of streets in St. Charles need to be fixed.
A lot of roads in the state that need to be fixed.
Okay, well, that brings me to another point. When I came here 41 years ago, I realized I had to pay property tax. And I came to the council here and I said, listen, what am I getting for my money? And they told me, they said, number one, you're getting priority police service, okay? Number two, you're getting priority road service, okay? And number three, we were getting a 50% discount on our water bill. Now, I learned last week, or last month, at the monthly meeting, that basically we're gonna be charged more now in the village of St. Charles than in Swan Creek Township. So, of the three things, if I look at it today, what am I getting for my tax dollars? Well, it's not a 50% discount in my water bill. If I go to, Swan Creek Township, I actually get a cheaper water bill. Number two, you know how I feel about our roads and our road services. And number three, yes, I've got good things to say about our police department, but we could also, we could always, be serviced by the sheriff's department. And what I'm saying is that I'm gonna have a conversation with my neighborhood about these things, because, do we actually need, does my neighborhood actually need to be in the village of St. Charles and pay, village property taxes?
Well, from 41 years ago, it's definitely, price of everything's definitely gone up, especially the last few years.
Well, that's
But
not,
like Hartman-
but so is my property taxes.
Okay, I get it, but like Hartman was saying last month, we haven't been, our rates haven't went up in what, 14 years?
15 years.
Let me,
As the cost of living goes up, something's gotta give.
let me give you a little history lesson, because, what Hart said was probably accurate, but it wasn't the whole story. If I remember correctly, and this is the only reason I didn't want to come to the meeting, I hadn't, confirmed my memory. But basically, when I moved here 41 years ago, the village of St. Charles only had, city water in the area. So if you wanted water and you were outside of the limits of the village of St. Charles, you paid 1.5 times more than what a resident paid. Then when the new water tower came in, and the reason why we didn't get an increase for 14 years is that half of our water bill somehow miraculously was moved over to our property taxes. And I think it had something to do with the bonding, and basically that's, you know, what happens according to my memory. Now, I hadn't talked to Hart about this, but I tried to confirm this, and I think my assertion is about 95% accurate.
I guess I'm not understanding it either. You're saying our water and everything was right.
It's when the new water tower.
Water and sewage, is that what you're
It's
saying?
when the new water tower came in. I don't know if that was paid by bonding, and there was a tax millage thing, but our water bill was basically, you know, taken in half with the knowledge that, you know, the other half of the water bill would be incorporated in our property tax.
I don't think that's legal, but I'll look into it.
Maybe it was back then, that's a long time ago,
Maybe-
you're talking 40
maybe it
years ago,
was.
though, right?
Well, no, the water tower must have went in what, about 1990? 90, in the 1990s? So, you know,
And it could have been, they subsidized it by, because everybody outside the village pays double. So maybe they didn't raise inside the village because everybody outside was paying double.
Well, there had to be a reason for it, and they just didn't just do it, they, I mean, it had to be a.
Right.
Well, you
And I
know,
wonder if
Chris,
they bonded through the
Chris
county and
Newman would
state.
probably know. I
Yeah.
think she was, you know, on the board then. But, you know, when you say we hadn't got, you know, an increase in our water bills for 14 years, yeah, that's right. But let's check out the whole story.
Well, 1990 is not 14 years ago.
I mean, I get it, you get it, Jimmy, you want.
Feels like it.
It feels like it, I wish it was.
Right, yeah.
I'd be
You
a
know,
lot
the point
younger.
is yeah, we're
watching that
paying
tower
property
go up.
tax and my roads aren't getting fixed.
Well, fix the damn roads, we talked about that, but just like putting new water, and we got water lines,
I
from 40s
understand
and
you-
50s still
I
out there.
understand
We're
you-
trying to replace it, and that money's gotta come from somewhere. If we aren't getting it from the state, from our taxes there, it's gotta come from somewhere, they need to be replaced, I get it. So-
Yeah, well, West North Street got, you know, and Beaver Road got repaved, you got repaved out here in the front, everybody's getting repaved except North Main and North Street, or East North Street.
Trust me, I wish we all had the money to repave every road.
Well, that's what I'm asking,
I get
are
it.
we solvent enough to do it? Because at one time, the village, you know, had allotted at least a mile a year of new road replacement.
Yeah, I get it, but that's not even a lot of miles, not a lot.
It's a mile from, you know, M52 back to the end of North Main.
That's not a long ways.
Well, that's 1 year's budget.
I think in the last 2 years, we've done 637,000 in new roads in the village. That's pretty significant.
I mean, you get it as well as I do, the worst roads should probably come first.
But, and so here's the dilemma, this is every municipality throughout the state. Do you fix a road and then come in 2 years, tear it up, put new water service lines, water main, and
There
have to
you go.
repave it
I
again?
get that.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna do it
So the
twice.
goal of every manager throughout the state is to put
You're
in
looking
new
ahead.
water lines and do them at the same time.
Well,
I
Paul,
have-
you know,
Which makes
it's like this,
sense.
when, you know, when these people come in and say, we want more taxes, you know, we want more millages for roads. I've had it up here
Oh, I
with
think a lot of
millages.
us have. We're with
And,
you
you know,
on
we're
that.
talking about, you know, mosquito control and the sheriff department and, you know, schools, you know, everything, you know, is getting piled on top of everything else.
Everybody's got their hand on it, everybody wants a tip, so yeah. I get it.
Exactly, everybody wants a tip, you know, that's why I'm voicing my opinion about, you know, why isn't my road getting fixed? And again, why isn't it? Back in the day of Hal Mead, he said it was basically a high priority road to be fixed, and that was 7 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will look into that with Chris Newman. I had a 14-minute conversation with her yesterday. She's doing well. She probably won't put her letter of interest in for the appointment, but she talked about it, just in case.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, but I do have a funny Chris story, but it's probably not okay for on the record. But super fun,
She told me she was sorry she resigned.
yeah. The institutional knowledge, talk about institutional knowledge, she was here for all of it, so that's why I like talking with her, just, you know, so I can take this information, hey, what was going on? We actually talked about the parking lot. I explained my side of it, I explained Gary Campbell said it's illegal, doubled down, said it's illegal. She goes, I thought what I did was ingenious. And I said, well, I brought it to the DDA, thinking, hey, well, they pay for it, private, public lot, they have money, it's not taxpayer dollars. And then the DDA said, well, why not do McDonald's parking lot? Why not do my parking lot? Why not do Dollar General's parking lot?
No, absolutely.
And it's a great point. And she goes, oh, I never thought of it that way. And I said, yeah, like, this is what we're getting. And she goes, Yeah, I can see their side. She said, good luck, I gotta go.
Yeah, just one more point, you know, if you don't know me, I'm the cyclist in town. Last year I put on about 4,700 miles worth of cycling. So within a radius of 30 miles around St. Charles, I've been on every road, every secondary road. And I'll tell you, my road, every secondary road is better than my road. You know, when you get, you know, out on Sharon Road, you get on Beaver Road, you get on Town Line Road, you get on any of the county roads, because of the, you know, the chip seal that they've been doing,
Do you
they're in
think he'd
better
be-
condition.
Did you think he'd be praising you guys by the end of the night? I bet you did it.
Do you think it would be feasible to chip seal your road?
No, the road's gone.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the road,
think
it
it's
could have
feasible.
probably been chip sealed 10 years ago, but it was ignored. And that's the frustration we have, but hey, but yeah, I can name all the roads in a 30-mile radius around St. Charles, and my road, you know, doesn't make it. And I'm riding it on a bicycle, so, anyway.
I ride my bike too. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Meeting adjourned.